So the story behind my grandfather was that my father had never spoken about his father throughout my lifetime. All I knew was that I had a very strong-willed grandmother, and my grandfather had passed years ago. As I was learning to meditate, I was sitting quietly in my room and I had my notepad on my lap. This was how I knew that I was able to automatic write. And as I was in that sacred space, a man stepped forward and he said, "I'm your grandfather." And I have never seen a picture of him up to this point. I didn't know any history behind him. And I just started to channel messages that he was bringing forth from my father. The images and the impressions that he brought through were specific to my father on the day of my grandfather's funeral, that only my father and his father in the afterlife had any knowledge of. It was something that my father never shared with anyone. And so with that, I brought the messages to my father and they made sense to him. And it was something that was very important and significant for him because my grandfather was a prisoner at Auschwitz. And when he came out of the war, he was not the same man that he was going into it. And it got the best of him. He unfortunately committed suicide, and it was something that my father never spoke of. They were abused, they were bullied and beaten as young kids. And so my father lived with that anger and the resentment of how could you leave us by ending your life? The gift that my grandfather has brought forward, which is so monumental in my life, is healing and an understanding that he had to go to a better place. He had to allow his spirit to be free so that he could then watch over his family from a different perspective and offering them a sense of peace and understanding with it, not anger or resentment. It was a very beautiful connection that he brought forward.